Well, from my perspective, the way we look at this, legislature charged us with the responsibility to implement the law and to review the policies proposed by each of the campuses, and to propose, not just propose, but implement modifications or changes to those policies if we saw something that we didn't think was appropriate. And for the most part, we deferred to each of the presidents. We respect the processes that they went through. They all took it very seriously. They've had a lot of time to think about it. And the only significant issue that we took exception to was the bullet in the chamber issue at UT Austin. We consulted a number of experts, and the opinions that we got back, the information that we got, including the chancellor, who is not inexperienced in such matters, was that it's safer to leave the bullet in the chamber than to be put in a position of having to take them in and out, and because that's our concern is that's where accidents happen. And so that's really the only significant issue that we push back and change the recommended policies.
When it comes to the details of this, for the dorms, you have, their guns are allowed in common areas, not in individual dorm rooms, and then also here in individual offices. Professors can choose, staff can choose. Are you confident that everybody knows the rules?
Absolutely not, and I think it's a big concern. I mean, the rules are not even the same from campus to campus, and again, we try to look at it from a very common sense approach, and we tried to keep in mind what the legislature said, which was let the university president make their own rules, and unless they're just way out of bounds, implement those rules. I think there's going to be some confusion. We were even talking briefly after this meeting about, we had the discussions about signs, whether you put a sign on every office, how do you, if you're relying on verbal notification, how do you prove, that somebody actually gave, did you verbally notice him? I think so. I normally do. So yeah, but it's hard to prove. But I think where we came down on that particular issue is if a professor is serious, faculty, whatever, is serious about not having somebody bring a gun in their office, we don't have to require them to put a sign. They'll put a sign. I would. If I were a faculty member and I didn't want people to bring guns, I wouldn't rely on my remembering to tell them every single time they walk in. I would have a sign on the front. And yeah, I'm not going to have the big giant sign that's enforceable, but at least I remind them I don't want guns in here. And so I think it's going to work, and I think it'll be a working process. We can revisit all or any or all of these policies anytime we want. And so my guess is, Dr. Daniel, that a year from now or maybe sooner, we'll sit down and review these and maybe take a look at some other changes. And the presidents may come to us with some recommendations of things that, maybe it's just not as workable as they intended originally.